Good morning everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Muhdar, but you can call me Chika. And now I'm the sixth semester at S.pd Bone. Well, today I will present my presentation about syntax. Well, the first preliminaries. The study of the mastery in the science in language. This book is about aspect of how language works and study how sentences are put together or syntax. Language is a psychological or cognitive property of human. That is, there is some set of neurons in its head firing madly away that allow me to sit here and produce this set of lecture. And there is a standard order of the notes in how head firing away. It allows you to translate the figures in the coherent ideas and thoughts. There are several subsystems of word here. If you were listening to me speak, I would be proceeding somewhere with my vocal cord and articulating particular speech sound with tongue, lip, and vocal cord. On the other kind of thing, you'd be hearing to sound ways of translating the into speech sound using your auditory apparatus. The study of acoustic and articulation of speech is called phonetics. Syntax is a cognitive science. Cognitive science is a cover term for a group of disciplines that all aim for the same goals, describing and explaining human being ability to think, or more particularly to think about abstract notions like substance particulars, the possibility of other planes, or even how many angels can fit on the head of a kid. One thing that distinguishes us from the other animals, even relatively small ones like chimps and elephants, is our ability to use language. Language plays an important role in how we think about abstract notions, or at the very least, language appears to be structured in such a way that is used to express abstract notions. The discipline of linguistics, along with psychology, philosophy, and computer science, took from an important discipline with cognitive science. Sentences are how we get and express abstract process. So the study of syntax is an important foundation stone for understanding how we communicate and interact with each other as humans. The dominant theory of syntax is due to Noam Chomsky and his followers, starting in the mid-1915 and continuing to this day. This theory, which has had many different names, taught its development transformational grammatical, or TG, transformational generative grammar, standard theory, extent standard theory, government and binding theory, principle and parameters approach, and minimalism. Is often given the blankest name generative grammar. A number of alternative theories of syntax have also branched of these research programs. These include lexical functional grammar and heat-driven structure grammar. They are also considered part of generative grammar, but we won't cover them extensively in this book, except in chapter 13 and 14. The particular version of generative grammar that we will mostly look at here is only the principle and parameters approach. Although we will occasionally stray from his into minimalism. The understanding thesis of generative grammar is the sentences are generated by and subconscious produced like computer program. These products are part of our mind. The cause of scientific theory is model this producer. In generative grammar, that means from modeling this product is taught a set of normal grammatic rules. Note that this rule are nothing like a rule of grammar you may have learning in school. The rule don't tell you how to properly punctuate a sentence or not to split an infinitive. Instead, they tell you the order before its verb. This kind of information comes in generative rules. The rule talk to generative to sentence and language, hence the name generative grammar. You can think of the rules being like command lines in a computer program. They tell you step by step how to put together words into a sentence. And the next, syntax assigns the scientific method. Science is purpose one the most purely defined words as the English language. We regularly talk of scientists as people who study bacteria, particles, and the information for chemical compounds. But as you first Jew or Jill on the street, the science mean, and you will be hard pressed to get a design definition of. Science refers to particular methodology of study. The scientific method dates back to the ancient Greek, such as Aristotle, Euclid, and Archimedes. The method involves observing some data, making some generalization about patterns in the data, developing hypotheses that account for the generalization, and testing the hypothesis against more data. Finally, the hypotheses are received to account for any new data and the test again. A flow chart showing data method is given in gathering and observing data, mixed generalization, and third, development hypothesis. In syntax, we apply this methodology the sentence structure. Syntaxists start by observing data about the language they are studying, the mixed generalization about pattern in the data. e.g., in simple English declarative sentence, the subject produces the verb. They then generative hypothesis, probably when the mixed productional and the test the hypothesis again, more syntax data. In of necessary, go back and elevate their hypothesis. The hypotheses are called rule, and the group of hypotheses that describe language syntax is called a grammar. The term grammar strikes terror in the heart of many people, but you should be know that there are two ways to about writing grammatical rule. One is to tell people how they should be speak. This kind of rule, perspective rule, as the perspective how people should speak according to some stars. Some examples for perspective rule include never and sense with proposition. Use whom, who, don't split infinitives. The rule tells you how we supposed to use our language. The other approach to rule describing how people actually speak, whether or not they are speaking correctly. There are called descriptive rules. Consider of a moment the approach we are taking in this book. Which of the two types described of description is more scientific? Which kind of rule is more likely to give you insight to how the mind uses language? For this reason, we focus on descriptive rule. This doesn't mean the prescriptive rules are important. In the excerpt section of the chapter, you are asked to critical examine this question of described versus specific rules. But for our purpose, described rules are most important. For an interesting discussing the specific descriptive debate, see Pinker 1955, the language instead. Let's turn to real-world application to scientific method to some language data. The following data contains the form of scientific kind of noun called an there are the noun in and with self, himself, herself, itself, etc. In chapter 4, we look at the distribution of anaphora in the time. Here we'll consider one superficial aspect of them. In the following sentence, as a standard in the syntax literature, a sentence that isn't well formed is marked with an asterisk before it, for the sentence assumes that Bill is male and Sally is female. Bill kissed himself. Bill kissed herself. Sally kissed herself, and Sally kissed himself. To the unskilled eye, the well-formed sentence in 2B and C just looks silly. It is obvious that Bill can kiss herself because Bill is male. However, no matter how matter-of-factly obvious this is, it is part of a bigger generalization about the distribution of an object. In particular, the generalization we can draw about the sentence in that an adapter for agree in gender. It is the noun it refers to its antecedents. So, in 2A and B, we see that the adapter must agree in gender with Bill. It is antecedent. The adapter must detect masculine from himself. The situation in 2C and D, it is same. The adapter must take from her set so that it agree on gender with the feminine Sally. In scientific method is to test his hypothesis against more data. Consider the additional data in 4. A. The robot kills itself. B. She knows herself on the head with a sushi. C. She knows herself on the head with a zucchini. D. The snake flattened itself against the rock. E. The snake flattened herself against the rocks. If the Joneses think themselves the best family on the block. G. The Joneses think himself of the most witty guy on the block. H. Gary and Kevin run themselves into exhaustion. E. Gary and Kevin run himself into exhaustion. Sentence 4. A, B, C are consistent with our hypothesis that another must agree in gender with their antecedents. with at least confirmed that the hypothesis is on the right track. What about the data in 4D and E? It appears as if any gender is confused with the ascendant the snake. They appear on the surface to be constitutional of our hypothesis. Think about the example a little more closely, however. Whether of no signs of 4E is well formed or not depends upon your assumption about the gender of the snake. If you assume or not the snake to be male, then snake flaps himself against the rocks is perfectly well formed. But under the same assumption, the sentence "the snake flattened herself against the rock" seems very intense. But it is fine if you assume the snake is female. So its approach as it is example of submit the generalization in 3. The figures about its well-formedness has to do with the fact in the we already rarely show with what gender a snake is not with the actual structure of the sentence. Now, look at the sentence in 4FA. Note its formedness or G and E. It is now predicate. With generalization. In fact, a generalization predicate the sentence 4E should be perfectly grammatical sense himself is gender masculine with the attendants Jerry and Kevin. Yet there is really something wrong with the sentence. The hypothesis needs a revision. It appears as if the number most agree and gender number with the attention. Number refers to the quantity of individual involved in the sentence. English primarily distinguishes singular number from plural number. Testing this again more data, we can see that this partially makes the right predication 6A, but it is don't properly predict the grammatically of sentence 5B E A6B E 6A. People from discounting very heavily of themselves. B. I gave yourself the bouquet of ice cream. C. I gave myself the bouquet of ice cream. D. She hit myself with a hammer. E. She hit herself with a hammer. Even more repetition is no other the phenomenon seen in 6BE revolves around a grammatical destination called person. Person refers to the perspective the speaker with respect to the other participant in speech action. First person refers to the speaker. Second person refers to the listener. Third person refers to people when discussed the errand participating in the conversation. Here are the English pronouns association with each person. Nominative refers to the case from the pronouns text when the subject position like in love parent better. Accusative refers to the form they take when object position like me and John love me. As you can see from this chart, The form of the another seem also to agree in person with antecedent. So once again, we revise our hypothesis. An author must agree in person, genre, and number with its antecedent. With this hypothesis, we have a straightforward statement of the distribution of these noun types derived using the scientific method. In this exercise seen below in the chapter 4, you will have opportunity to revise the rule in 5 with even more data. Well, I think that's all from me, and thank you very much for watching.